But it's a lucky thing I had my pieces.
Your pieces?
My guns.
Oh.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're looking at 10 dangerous weapons that are only available in the U.S.
But look around you. How much help does it look like I need?
For this list, we'll be looking at weapons that are illegal in countries other than the United States and readily available to American citizens. From Walmart to Amazon, many of these weapons can be obtained relatively easily and should be handled with care and caution. Do you think our list is poorly equipped? Let us know in the comments below. Pepper spray. Pepper spray is a weapon used by police to disable suspects and by civilians for self-defense.
Move along, sir.
It's a powerful irritant meant to blind and incapacitate. Pepper spray is illegal for use in combat, but is used widely by police forces for riot suppression. While mostly non-lethal, it can contribute to death in people with substance use disorders and restrained suspects.
Stand down, or I'm gonna pepper spray.
Oh, you're gonna pepper spray?
You understand
perfect. That is just perfect. Pepper spray the man who's expressing his opinion under the First Amendment.
Positional asphyxiation is a real risk when using pepper spray on prone individuals.
Pam, please call security.
One 2000 study linked capsaicin, its active ingredient, to cancer in mice. A number of countries like China, Iceland, and Ireland ban civilian possession of pepper spray altogether. Brass knuckles.
Jay, are you alright?
Brass knuckles are an ancient weapon still in use today. It's a fist-load device meant to add weight to a punch. The force of a blow is concentrated to a more compact area, causing significantly more, often lethal, damage.
What are you talking about?
Historians think that brass knuckles were conceived in ancient Greece. They were used by Greco-Roman gladiators in combat. In World War I, brass knuckles affixed to a trench knife was a popular weapon for soldiers. It also became a common weapon for criminals in the 20th century. More than 24 countries ban their possession. In the U.S., brass knuckles are regulated on a state and local basis.
Hey!
A bit of classic.
Automatic weapons owned before 1986. After a surge in gangland violence during Prohibition, the U.S. government enacted the National Firearms Act of 1934. It created a series of regulations and penalties for the ownership of machine guns, sawed-off shotguns, and silencers.
You know your weapons, buddy.
The NFA didn't do much to deter GIs returning from World War II from bringing back machine guns as trophies. Recognizing this and following several high-profile assassinations, the government enacted a highly successful amnesty and registration program in 1968. In response to the ATF going after people for technical violations, the Reagan administration created a new law in 1986. The Firearm Owners Protection Act restricted the amount of government interference while also banning the sale of any new machine guns. There are, to this day, thousands of older machine guns legally owned by American citizens. Stun guns.
I'm only going to say this one more time, sir. Calm down.
I'm calm.
Stun guns and tasers are devices created to deliver a strong electric shock to a target. They're designed to be non-lethal and are meant to incapacitate.
No! In the face! In the face! No!
Still, deaths caused or partially caused by taser shocks are not unheard of. Despite proliferation among police forces across the globe, tasers and stun guns are not without controversy. The UN has even pointed out that tasers can and have been used as a form of torture. Many countries, like Australia and China, have strict prohibitions on civilian possession of stun guns, but only 2 U.S. states, Rhode Island and Hawaii, prohibit ownership of tasers. Tactical shotguns. The shotgun has been part of American culture for centuries. Favored by fowl hunters over the years, the pump-action mechanism in the 19th century made shotguns especially desirable for combat. In World War I, they were used to clear trenches. In later wars, they were favored for close-quarters jungle fighting. Today, pump and semi-automatic shotguns are used widely by militaries and police forces around the world. In the United States, pump and semi-auto shotguns are well-regarded home defense weapons.
What the hell is this? Get off my lawn.
They're also easily accessible. Shotguns are still available in many sporting goods stores. In 2019, less than 2% of homicides involved shotguns. They were used primarily in more rural states like Maine, Utah, and Alaska. Sniper and anti-material rifles. Before the development of the rifled barrel, guns were not especially accurate. This is the origin of the phrase, "can't hit the broadside of a barn." Musket bullets were notorious for tumbling clumsily through the air. Much like a tightly thrown football spiral, rifling adds spin to the bullet. This allows for greater range and accuracy. The longest known military sniper kill was at just over 2 miles. Civilians in the U.S. today can purchase sniper rifles that, for a skilled shooter, could easily hit targets at 1,500 yards. Sometimes that can lead to deadly consequences, which happened during the 2002 sniping attacks.
It left the police dumbfounded and with no answers to give the shattered community.
We just didn't know what to do. We did not prepare for what happened that morning.
Children were locked in their classrooms and told not to go near the windows.
Bump stocks. Since 1986, new fully automatic weapons are not legally obtainable for most American citizens. Bump stocks were created to get around that ban. Bump stocks are modifications for long rifles that get attached to the stock and trigger mechanism. They use the recoil of the weapon to effectively convert a semi-automatic rifle into a fully automatic one, or at least the closest they can get.
What you would do is slide it over a rifle. It then enables the rifle to move back and forth, firing rapidly, almost at the same rate as a machine gun.
They entered the collective awareness of many Americans in 2017. A mass murderer in Las Vegas used bump stock rifles to kill 60 people and wound another 400. The ATF attempted to modify their regulations around the 1934 NFA to ban bump stocks, but a federal appeals court overturned that ban in January 2023. Privately made firearm. Colloquially referred to as ghost guns, a privately made or homemade firearm is a weapon assembled by the user at home and not by a gun manufacturer. Because they're made by an individual and not a corporation, they're not subject to the same laws and therefore fall into a legal gray area in the U.S. There are ATF regulations governing the rules for homemade guns, but they're hard to enforce.
The guns that are now these untraceable and licensed guns are so easy to make, and so many of them are ending up in crime scenes across America and on the hands of gang members.
The emergence of domestic 3D printing technology has only added jet fuel to the fire. Ghost guns can be made from untraceable polymers, and schematics are available online. So while President Biden announced an anti-ghost gun executive action in 2022, legislation is required for more permanent bans in the U.S.
For a business to manufacture one of these kits without a serial number. Illegal.
Meanwhile, in countries like Canada, a firearm's frame and receiver are considered a firearm and therefore require a license.
And you don't need anything from me, right?
Money.
Money? Yeah. But no ID or anything, we're not doing background check.
No.
Handguns.
In my opinion, if you've seen one of these, you've seen them all.
Whether a revolver or a pistol, these short-barreled guns differ from their long-barreled counterparts in that they can be fired using only one hand. Since their invention, they've been used the world over primarily by police and military forces. However, in 1836, the first mass-produced handgun was invented in the United States by Samuel Colt.
Okay.
Oops.
Putting the gun down now.
And it's been used by American civilians as their primary weapon of choice for self-defense ever since. In fact, today, there are 120 guns in America for every 100 people. Sadly, handguns are also responsible for more deaths than any other type of gun on this list. Because of the potential danger to the general population, many countries have highly restrictive rules about handgun ownership. However, many U.S. states don't even require a permit to own one.
What the son of a...
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into Settings and switch on your notifications. Assault rifles. Despite making up a little over 4% of the global population, the U.S. accounts for almost half of the world's civilian-owned guns.
Get down! Turn around! Put your hands behind you! Behind you! Behind you!
Get out! Stay down!
Most guns owned by American civilians are modified versions of weapons created for the military. This includes semi-automatic assault-style weapons like the AR-15.
Okay, to London! Huh? You want more?
There are few industrialized nations besides the U.S. that allow such widespread access to military-style rifles. That wasn't always true. In 1994, Congress passed an assault weapons ban. It was allowed to lapse under George W. Bush's administration. Since then, proliferation has been extreme, and a surge in mass casualty attacks has occurred. One study of these attacks with 4 or more fatalities reported that assault rifles caused 85% of those deaths.
This is the AK-47 assault rifle, the preferred weapon of your enemy, and it makes a distinctive sound when fired at you, so remember it.